Hello there. It's really good to be with you again, and I'm just trying to savor the beauty of the of my beautiful compound, and I thought to share a thought. Yeah, amongst the many beautiful things happening today, is the beginning of what you call the Passion Tide, right? And what that basically means is we are shifting our focus from Jesus in the desert to Jesus going very close to his death, his crucifixion and death, obviously. So we call it, more or less the last two Sundays of Lent, the Passion Tide. And one of the things that characterizes it is the covering of images. And I'm sure you must have started seeing that in your various churches and parishes. So I just thought to, share a reflection that the Spirit has put in my heart with you. To begin with, I remember making a video some time ago, and I said something about how most of the things in the Catholic Church will just look like we are wasting our time if we don't go to the depth of the meaning behind it, right? And especially when it comes to the question of images, most people think we are just idol worshippers who are wasting our time and stuff like that. And you'll be shocked that a good number of Catholics also, even though they've been having this practice done, may not have paid a lot of attention to what it truly, truly means. So that being said, I want to say something about, the covering of images. I am particular with words. So the first thing is sometimes we use covering, sometimes we use veiling, sometimes we use shrouding. There's a sense in which all of those things can actually be very meaningful. So if you say veiling, as it was during Jesus' time, the Holy of Holies is usually covered with a veil. And when it gets to the time, of course, to offer the sacrifice in the temple, the high priest must go into the Holy of Holies behind the veil and bring Jesus out, the presence of God. In that sense, veiling with respect to what is going on makes even more sense. Why? Because then it means something about Jesus now going behind that veil so that it can be revealed ultimately on Easter Sunday when we'll be singing Hallelujah. So if you like the word veiling, and of course, if you pay attention also to the Passion narrative, there's a point when you would read that, of course, after all of the ordeals that Jesus faced, is that the veil in the temple, separated. So it's something that also I just thought it makes a lot of sense to also call it veiling. If you call it shrouding, there's also a sense in which it makes sense, right? And what that means is you have, for instance, something called the Shroud of Turin, which is that particular cloth that was used to cover Jesus during his death. That's when he was laid in the sepulchre. And then when you use a shroud, basically, it is because you want to hide something away, or rather, you are covering something up. Now, what needs to be covered here, basically, is the fact of something that has been done in a matter of, don't mind me, I'm just saying hi to everybody here. The shrouding, in the sense that Jesus is to be crucified, he's going to die, and he'll be covered in a shroud. So what is really going on today is something that heightens our sense of expectation that Jesus is going to die, but then he's going to rise. So it makes sense to also call it shrouding. If you want to call it covering, there are many persons who think of it like, okay, Jesus is hiding. That can also make sense. If you check John chapter 8, verse 59, for instance, it said, and Jesus hid from them. And I want you to pay attention to this last one. In fact, you know why? Because if Jesus had not done that, anybody who blasphemed, usually what is done is they are stoned. Imagine Jesus was stoned. Because the culture then was, if you are stoned, then of course there's no need for the shedding of blood, except of course the stones make you shed whatever blood. But the thing is, there won't be all of what happened during the scourging of the pillar and all of, you will just be buried. Which means he probably wouldn't have, in quote, shed his blood for us. So the covering in that sense, in the sense that, okay, Jesus of course hid from the people as contained in the scriptures. And because of that, now we have the meaning given to covering here. I'm saying all of this, giving it the various sense, because one thing we must know about, especially images in the scriptures, is this. It is only, not just in the scriptures, even in Christianity generally, the idea behind images and imagery, iconography, whichever English you want to speak, is to provoke devotion. Is to provoke devotion, and anything that helps to provoke devotion is what we should be paying attention to. So instead of castigating all these people are idol worshippers, can we pay attention to the meaning behind everything that has been going on, or that is going on behind each of those things, and then pick it from there. So at this point, we are heightening our sense of expectation. Jesus is being shrouded, is being covered, is being veiled, and each of those things have their meanings in history and in the tradition of the church. And it just makes sense that we heighten our expectation at a time like this. So I think that's pretty much what all that is going on the fifth Sunday means at this point. And I just want to enjoin us to have that disposition, right? And heighten our sense of expectation. Because in a matter of 2 weeks, we're going to be changing our tunes, and we're going to be singing hallelujah, of course, to the Son of David. And we're going to be rejoicing over the fact that dying, it destroyed our death, and rising, it restored our life. Have yourselves a good week ahead. God bless you.